Welcome to CinePreviewHub, your go-to destination for exciting movie recaps. The story begins with three lifelong friends Ethan, Isaac, and Chris who have a unique Christmas Eve tradition. For the past decade, the trio has spent Christmas Eve together creating memories that have bonded them deeply. It all started when Ethan's parents tragically passed away and his two best friends stepped in to help him cope with the loss. They made a pact to spend every Christmas Eve together partying and enjoying the festive spirit. Over the years, this annual night has evolved into a wild tradition of adventure and fun as they try to chase the ultimate Christmas experience. However, times have changed. As they grow older, life's responsibilities have started to catch up with them. Isaac is now married and expecting his first child, while Chris has become a famous football player. Ethan, on the other hand, is still struggling with his personal life. He hasn't quite moved on from his parents' death and his career hasn't taken off as he had hoped. In contrast to his friends, Ethan is still stuck in the past, clinging to the tradition as a way to maintain their bond. But this year the friends have decided that it will be their last Christmas Eve adventure together as their lives are pulling them in different directions. Ethan stumbles upon the holy grail of Christmas parties, the Nutcracker Ball, an exclusive mysterious event that they've been hearing rumors about for years. Determined to make this final Christmas Eve memorable, Ethan secures tickets to the Nutcracker Ball, planning for the trio to experience the ultimate night out before they officially end their tradition. The excitement of the evening starts to build, but as the night progresses, things begin to spiral out of control in ways none of them could have expected. The night kicks off with the friends visiting familiar places from their past Christmas Eve adventures. They stop by a karaoke bar where they used to sing holiday songs every year. Here Ethan spots his ex-girlfriend Diana, who he hasn't spoken to since they broke up. Despite their separation, Ethan still has unresolved feelings for her, and seeing her makes him question whether he made the right choice in letting her go. Their encounter is brief, but it stirs up emotions in Ethan, reminding him of the life he once envisioned with her. Meanwhile, Isaac is feeling anxious about becoming a father. His wife Betsy, aware of his nervousness, gives him a box of drugs as a holiday gift to help him relax during the night. Isaac, who has always been the responsible one, is tempted to indulge in the party lifestyle one last time before his baby arrives. As the drugs start to take effect, Isaac's behavior becomes increasingly erratic, leading to some wild and hilarious moments throughout the night. Chris, on the other hand, is dealing with the pressures of fame. As a professional athlete, he's used to the spotlight, but the attention has also come with its downsides. He's constantly trying to prove himself both to his friends and to the public, and he struggles with balancing his old friendships with his newfound celebrity status. Throughout the night, Chris is desperate to maintain his cool image, but his vulnerability begins to show as he confronts the realities of his life. As the friends journey through the city, they encounter a series of chaotic, comedic, and sometimes heartfelt moments. From running into quirky characters, to getting into trouble with the law, to sharing moments of genuine friendship, the night becomes a whirlwind of events. But at the heart of it all, the underlying theme of change and growing up begins to emerge. For Ethan, Isaac, and Chris, this night represents the end of an era. The world they've known for so long is slipping away, and they must come to terms with the fact that life will never be the same. Throughout the night, Ethan continues to struggle with his feelings about Diana. He keeps thinking about how much he misses her, and how different his life might have been if they had stayed together. He begins to realize that part of the reason he's been clinging to the Christmas Eve tradition is because it's a way to avoid confronting the reality of his life and the decisions he's made. At one point, he receives a text from Diana, inviting him to meet her at a party, and he contemplates whether he should go or continue with the night's plans with his friends. Isaac's drug-induced antics continue to cause chaos, leading to hilarious moments where he hallucinates, loses track of time, and finds himself in bizarre situations. One particularly funny sequence involves him accidentally swapping phones with a stranger, which leads to confusion and a series of unexpected text messages. Despite his outlandish behavior, Isaac's vulnerability about becoming a father remains a central focus. He opens up to his friends about his fears, and they reassure him that he'll be a great dad. The support from his friends helps Isaac realize that while his life is changing, he doesn't have to face it alone. Important than maintaining his image. As the night wears on, Chris begins to understand that the people who have been with him since the beginning, like Ethan and Isaac, are his real support system. He realizes that no amount of fame or success can replace the bond he shares with his friends, and this recognition helps him reconnect with his true self. As the trio makes their way toward the Nutcracker Ball, the night takes on an almost surreal quality. Their journey through the city is filled with strange encounters and hilarious moments that push them to reflect on their lives. At one point, they run into their old high school friend Rebecca, who is now a successful lawyer. Rebecca's life seems perfect from the outside, but she reveals to the group that even with all her success, she still feels unfulfilled. This conversation strikes a chord with Ethan, who has been struggling to find purpose in his own life. Meanwhile, Isaac's hallucinations start to intensify, and he has a series of bizarre and comical experiences that further unravel his sense of reality. From seeing his future child in a hallucination, to imagining strange and surreal scenarios, Isaac's drug-fueled adventure provides many of the night's funniest moments. Despite all the craziness, Isaac has a deep realization that he is truly ready for fatherhood. He acknowledges that his anxiety is normal, but the support of his friends reassures him that he can handle the responsibility. Ethan continues to grapple with his feelings for Diana. As he revisits memories of their time together, he begins to understand that the real reason he hasn't been able to move on is because he's been holding on to the past. The Christmas Eve tradition with Isaac and Chris has been a way for him to avoid facing the changes in his life, and the end of their tradition feels like the end of an era. Torn between attending the Nutcracker Ball and reconnecting with Diana, Ethan finds himself at a crossroads. The group finally arrives at the legendary Nutcracker Ball, an extravagant and exclusive party that has lived up to its mysterious reputation. The atmosphere is electric, filled with music, dancing, and holiday festivities. As they enter the party, the friends are swept up in the excitement of the night, but beneath the surface, the realization that this is their last Christmas Eve together begins to weigh heavily on them. At the Nutcracker Ball, Ethan runs into Diana again. Their conversation is more open and honest than before, as Ethan finally confronts his feelings. He admits that he's been afraid of change and has been using the Christmas Eve tradition as a way to hold on to the past. Diana listens, and they share a moment of understanding. However, Diana makes it clear that she's moved on from their relationship. And while she still cares about Ethan, she knows that they can't go back to how things were. This realization hits Ethan hard, but it also frees him from the weight of his unresolved feelings. Chris, meanwhile, is recognized by several people at the party. As more fans approach him, seeking autographs and selfies, Chris finds himself overwhelmed by the attention. He realizes that while fame has its perks, it has also distanced him from the things that truly matter. His friends have always been there for him, but the pressures of being in the public eye have made it difficult for him to maintain those connections. At the Nutcracker Ball, Chris begins to reconcile his public persona with the person he wants to be for his friends, realizing that it's time to prioritize the relationships that have shaped him. As the party reaches its peak, Isaac finds himself reflecting on how much his life is about to change. The impending birth of his child weighs heavily on him, but for the first time that night, he feels a sense of peace about it. After all the wild antics and hallucinations, Isaac knows that he's ready for the challenges and joys of fatherhood. His friends have helped him see that no matter how much life changes, the bond they share will always be there to support him. As the night draws to a close, Ethan, Isaac, and Chris find themselves outside the Nutcracker Ball, looking out at the city they've known for so long. The glow of the city lights reflects the bittersweet emotions they're feeling. It's the end of their Christmas Eve tradition, but it's also the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Each of them has faced personal challenges during the night, but through it all, they've realized that no matter what happens, they'll always have each other. As the trio stands outside, reflecting on the events of the night, they are struck by the realization that their friendship has evolved. The carefree days of their youth have passed, and the responsibilities of adulthood have taken center stage. Yet, the bond between them remains strong. Ethan, who has struggled to accept the changes in his life, finally begins to come to terms with the fact that growing up doesn't mean losing his friends. While their tradition might be ending, their connection will always endure. Isaac reflects on the night's events, marveling at how far they've come since their first Christmas Eve adventure. He thinks about the impending arrival of his child, and for the first time, he feels truly ready to embrace fatherhood. He understands that while his life is about to change in monumental ways, he doesn't have to face it alone. His friends have always been by his side, and they will continue to be, even as their lives evolve. Chris, who has spent much of the night grappling with the pressures of fame, realizes that his identity isn't defined by his career. While being a successful football player is a part of who he is, it's not the only thing that matters. The relationships he's built with Ethan and Isaac are far more important than his public image, and he resolves to make those friendships a priority moving forward. Ethan, who has been the most resistant to change, finally lets go of the past. He accepts that Diana has moved on, and that it's time for him to do the same. While the end of their Christmas Eve tradition marks the close of a chapter in his life, it also signifies a new beginning. With his friends by his side, Ethan is ready to face whatever the future holds. As they walk through the quiet streets, the weight of the night begins to settle in. They've spent years clinging to their tradition, but now, they realize that growing up means embracing change. The Christmas Eve adventures may be over, but their friendship is stronger than ever. Ethan looks at the streets around him, filled with memories of past Christmas Eves, and he smiles. He knows that while things are different now, the friendships he's built will always be a part of him. With a renewed sense of hope, Ethan walks beside his friends, ready to embrace whatever comes next. The three friends head back to Chris's apartment, where they unwind after the night's events. Sitting together, they reflect on the craziness of the evening, laughing about the moments of chaos, the wild adventures, and the deep conversations they shared. It's a bittersweet moment, as they know that this chapter of their lives is coming to an end. But they are also excited for the new journeys that await them. Ethan, Isaac, and Chris each have their own paths to follow, but they know that their bond will endure. The night has taught them that while life may pull them in different directions, their friendship is a constant, something that will remain strong no matter what. Isaac is the first to leave, saying goodbye to his friends as he heads home to Betsy. He knows that this time next year he'll have a new role as a father, and he's excited to take on that challenge. Chris follows soon after, heading back to his own life as a football player. But this time he leaves with a newfound sense of balance between his career and his friendships. As Ethan walks out into the cold winter night, he feels a sense of peace. The night before may be over, but the future holds endless possibilities, and he's ready for whatever comes next. The next morning, Ethan wakes up feeling lighter than he has in a long time. The events of the previous night have given him a new perspective on life, and he's ready to face the changes that lie ahead. He sends a text to Isaac and Chris thanking them for the incredible night and for their years of friendship. Both of them respond quickly, echoing the same sentiments. While they may not have another wild Christmas Eve together, their friendship will continue to thrive, just in new ways. Isaac is now preparing for fatherhood with confidence, knowing that he's not alone in this new chapter. He's learned that while life can be unpredictable, the love and support of those around him can help him navigate any challenge. Chris is back on the field, more focused than ever. The night helped him realize that while his career is important, it's the relationships he's built along the way that matter the most. He's determined to keep those connections alive no matter where his career takes him. And Ethan, for the first time in a long time, feels like he's on the right path. He's finally let go of the past, ready to move forward and embrace the new opportunities ahead. His friendship with Isaac and Chris will always be a part of him, but now he's ready to carve out his own future. The film ends on a hopeful note, with the three friends each embarking on their own journeys, but with the understanding that their bond will remain unbreakable. They've grown up, but they've also grown closer, and they know that whatever the future holds, they'll always be there for each other. The movie's unique blend of comedy, heart, and holiday spirit makes it a memorable and entertaining story about friendship and growing up. The performances from the cast are engaging, bringing both humor and emotional depth to the film's narrative. With an IMDb rating of 6.4, this movie can be watched on popular streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. It's the perfect choice for anyone looking for a funny, heartfelt holiday movie with a modern twist. Guess the movie in comment section. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please show your support by liking, subscribing, and commenting below. Stay tuned for more thrilling content from CinePreviewHub.